Every year, prices rise. Every decade, wages fall behind. And every crisis seems to end the same way, with ordinary people absorbing the damage. But here's the mystery no one explains. If inflation is natural, if wage stagnation is inevitable, and if economic cycles are uncontrollable, why do the same groups always win and the same groups always lose? Why does money lose value with mathematical precision? Why do wages lag just enough to keep people dependent, but never desperate enough to revolt? And most disturbing of all, what if inflation, wages, and economic pressure aren't chaotic outcomes, but the output of a hidden algorithm quietly shaping modern life? To see it, we have to stop thinking emotionally and start thinking mechanically. When people hear the word algorithm, they imagine computers, code, and artificial intelligence. But long before computers existed, financial systems were already running on formulas, rules, targets, thresholds, feedback loops. Central banks don't guess inflation, they model it. Governments don't hope wages grow, they manage labor pressure. Corporations don't react to costs, they optimize for margins. Tying all of it together is a set of invisible instructions. An economic operating system designed not for human comfort, but for system survival. This system didn't appear overnight. It was built slowly, deliberately, and almost invisibly. To understand the algorithm, we must return to the moment money stopped being passive. For most of history, money reflected reality. It was limited, scarce, difficult to create. When productivity increased, wages rose naturally. When resources declined, prices followed. But the 20th century changed everything. 2 world wars forced governments to borrow beyond their limits. To survive, they needed a way to fund massive spending without immediate collapse. The solution was elegant and dangerous. Central banking power expanded. Money creation became elastic. Debt replaced taxation as the primary engine of growth. At first, this seemed harmless. More money meant more activity. More credit meant faster rebuilding. More spending meant political stability. But a system based on endless expansion requires control, not balance. And control requires rules. Here's the first truth most people never hear. Inflation is not a failure of the system. Inflation is the system. Once money became debt-based, inflation became necessary. Why? Because debt must be repaid with future money. And future money must be more abundant than today's money. That means currency must constantly lose value slowly, predictably, and quietly. This is where the algorithm begins. Central banks set inflation targets often around 2%. That number isn't random. It's calculated too low, and debt becomes harder to repay. Too high, and social unrest follows. Inflation is tuned like a dial not to protect purchasing power, but to lubricate debt. And here's the hidden consequence. Anyone who earns wages but doesn't own assets becomes the shock absorber. In the mid-20th century, something remarkable happened. Productivity soared. Technology improved. Workers produced more than ever before. And for a brief moment, wages rose with it. But as globalization expanded and financialization accelerated, corporations discovered a more efficient formula. Why raise wages? When inflation quietly reduces them for you. Instead of increasing pay, companies focused on cost optimization. Labor became an input, not a partnership. And central banks supported this shift. Why? Because wage growth is inflationary. When wages rise too fast, demand increases. Prices follow. Debt becomes unstable. So wages were capped indirectly, not frozen. Cut. Just. Restrained. This wasn't done with laws. It was done with pressure. Interest rates, employment targets, natural unemployment. A workforce that's always slightly insecure is easier to manage. Here's where the system becomes truly algorithmic. Inflation rises, gives rates increase, gives hiring slows, gives wage pressure drops, gives inflation stabilizes, gives rates drop, gives asset prices rise. This loop repeats endlessly. Notice something important. Assets are protected. Labor is adjusted. When inflation spikes, wages are blamed. When markets crash, money is printed. The algorithm doesn't care about fairness. It cares about equilibrium. Human well-being is secondary. Every algorithm eventually encounters edge cases. Moments when reality breaks the model. For modern economics, those moments were global crises. Financial collapses, pandemics, supply chain failures. In response, the system did what it always does, but at an unprecedented scale. It printed money. Trillions of units entered the economy digitally faster than production could ever match. At first, nothing happened, and prices exploded. Food, housing, energy, healthcare, but wages. They lagged exactly as the algorithm predicted, because raising wages fast enough would destabilize debt markets. So instead, inflation was labeled temporary, then transitory, then complex. But it was never unexpected. Let's look at outcomes, not explanations. Asset owners saw values surge. Governments inflated away obligations. Corporations protected margins. Meanwhile, savings lost purchasing power. Rent consumed income. Debt became permanent. The algorithm redistributed wealth upward automatically. No conspiracy meeting required. Just rules executing as designed. And here's the most unsettling part. Most people blamed themselves. They worked harder, budgeted more, saved aggressively. But you cannot out-discipline a system designed to outpace you. Every proposed solution attacks symptoms, never the code. Raise rates? Gives crashes employment. Lower rates? Gives inflates asset stimulus checks? Gives short-term relief? Long-term inflation wage mandates? Gives offshoring, automation, price increases. Each fix triggers another loop. Why? Because the algorithm's priority hierarchy never changes. Protect debt markets, stabilize financial institutions, preserve asset confidence, adjust labor last. Human comfort is not a variable, it's a constraint. Look anywhere. Different countries, different currencies. Same pattern. Inflation spikes, wages lag, assets inflate. Debt grows, the numbers change, the logic doesn't. And now, with digital currencies, real-time data, and automated policy tools, the algorithm is becoming more precise, not more humane. Future money may expire. Spending may be nudged. Saving may be penalized. Not to punish you, but to stabilize the system. Efficiency over freedom. So what is the hidden algorithm? It's not a single program. It's not a secret code. It's a coordinated framework where money is created through debt. Inflation manages repayment. Wages are controlled indirectly. Assets absorb excess liquidity. Risk is socialized downward. It's a system optimized for continuity, not fairness.
How?
And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Inflation isn't random. It's managed pressure. Wage stagnation isn't failure. It's containment. The system doesn't need your consent, only your participation. Here's the warning. If you believe inflation, wages, and economic stress are accidental, you'll spend your life reacting instead of understanding. Here's the question that matters. What happens when people stop optimizing themselves for a system that was never designed for them to win? This change how you see money, work, and control? Subscribe, because once you understand the algorithm, you stop blaming yourself and start seeing the game.